Yes, the British Transport Commission should hear about this. Taxi! Taxi! Can you take us to...
I'll take you, but not your brother.
Soft skin, the start of feeling beautiful. Treat it gently with Lux. Lux cares for your skin with a simple purity, even the richness of the lather comes from natural oils. So Lux leaves your skin with a softness and smoothness that's irresistible. Lux. Feeling like this, how can you help feeling beautiful?
It's lovely and warm here, don't you think?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Fresh. Good spot, very quiet.
Clean.
Can I have some orange juice, Mum? Yes, just a minute.
Tangy. New.
Some for me, darling.
Heinz yogurt dressing.
Lovely.
Loved by those who are a little more daring.
Place, Dad.
Gobi Desert, son.
Meow, 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 meow.
One pack of new Meow Mix contains 3 of the flavors that cats like best: beef, liver and chicken. Just serve with milk or water. Meow Mix tastes so good, cats ask for it by name.
Meow.
Mix.
You don't have to win races to put milk first.
Oh, you really cut corners when you decorate a cake with Home Pride's new top and fill. No mixing, no messing. In chocolate, vanilla, coffee and lemon flavours. Enough to top and fill one of these sponges or lots of these. Lovely.
Home Pride's new top and fill. It's simply delicious.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be landing in approximately 30 minutes. Once again, may I apologize for the 8-hour delay at Malaga and for the severe turbulence during the flight, which I can assure you is most unusual. The ground temperature at Luton is a mere 43 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm afraid it's raining. Thank you.
An important notice to all Ford Southampton employees. Please take special note that all employees should return to work at start of normal shift Wednesday, 27th May.
Years now. But if you'll come in, I'll ask him if he can see you.
Senor, your crate! Put the kettle on! My crate. My crate, my crate.
Dear Consul, the department deeply regrets that the contents of the attached crate, i.e. digestive biscuits, are not to the usual high standard, i.e. they are not McVitie's digestives, and they do not boast the usual incomparable McVitie's taste. Look, Royston, this decision was forced upon the department. If it was up to me, your diplomatic bag would be bulging with McVitie's digestives, though it wasn't my fault.
Give them McVitie's, not excuses.
Standing in a bus queue,
sitting in the traffic,
letting other people plan the way you go.
It's time you broke away.
Believe in freedom, believe in Honda. Going when you like, from door to door, your Honda bike and you. Believe in freedom, believe in Honda. like than you.
Are you making the most of your Marvel? Marvel makes cooking deliciously light and helps keep you looking just right. When used in a calorie-controlled diet, Marvel's made from pure fresh milk, but has almost no fat and around half the calories per pint. So if you want to slim and keep in trim, it's marvelous what Marvel can do.
In the world of nature, the appeal of young animals rarely fails to stir our emotions. Instinctively, we sense their vulnerability, their need to feel protected and secure. People, too, are finding that saving with the Portman Building Society is the natural way to the security we all need. Your money is safe, readily available, and growing all the time. Portman Building Society, naturally.
If you girls like a crocodilo but forget the name, just to think of this, then you remember. Alligator. Sorry, crocodilo.
Crocodilo, the new sparkling wine aperitif.
What's that?
Nothing.
I think it's a parade. It's a parade, Charlie.
Smith Square Crisps are the newest kind of crisps, crisped in a new kind of way, to give you the tastiest crisp you ever crunched.
Do you want half of this, Charlie?
Smith Square Crisps, the tastiest crisp you ever crunched.
It's an old and rather unusual brandy.
I don't like that delivery room. It's not very comfortable, is it?
Well, it isn't meant for comfort, Mrs. Tidy. Well, it looks as if we'll have to try something else, doesn't it?
Well, now you mention it, I wouldn't mind some of those sausages and tomatoes.
It's lovely and warm here, don't you think?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Fresh,
Good spot, very quiet.
clean,
Can I have some orange juice, Mum?
Yes, just a minute.
tangy,
Some for me,
new.
darling.
Heinz yogurt dressing. Loved by those who are a little more daring.
Gobi Desert, son.
You know, every time you tuck into Kentucky Fried Chicken, you're assured of fresh chicken cooked right here in the store. We take tender chicken and coat it in 11 different herbs and spices to the Colonel's secret recipe. Then it's deep fried, the original Kentucky way. That's what makes it everybody's favorite chicken. Now ain't that finger-licking good?
If you can remember when the summers were longer and warmer, we had pounds, shillings and pence and guineas. Listened to the wireless, not transistors. Went down to Devon on the old Great Western Railway. If you can remember any of this, then these Huntley and Palmer's Priory biscuits would take you back a bit.
Priory from Huntley and Palmer, made with sultanas, honey, and a bit more care.
I'd almost forgotten a biscuit could taste as good as this.
We don't brew bitter. We don't brew mild. We don't brew stout. We don't brew cider. At Carlsberg, we're not a jack of all trades. We just like to think we're the master of one. Carlsberg, probably the best lager in the world.
You really cut corners when you decorate a cake with home pride's new top and fill. No mixing, no messing. In chocolate, vanilla, coffee and lemon flavours. Enough to top and fill one of these sponges or lots of these. Lovely.
Home Pride's new top and fill. It's simply delicious.
Meow 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 meow
New Meow Mix contains 3 of the flavors that cats like best: beef, liver and chicken. Just serve with milk or water. Meow Mix tastes so good, cats ask for it by name.
Meow.
Mix.
An important notice to all Ford Southampton employees. Please take special note that all employees should return to work at start of normal shift Wednesday, 27th May.
I've got a load here and I wouldn't want to drop it.
My sentiments exactly. In all the field of human entertainment, have so few done so much to so many. Here, Barbara, I'm trying to go on. You must let me out. Let me out. Okay. No, let's go.
On Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, Charlton Heston stars in Grey Lady Down.
I need you on the double. Grey Lady Down. One of yours.
Secure that door. There are men back there. Secure it.
If she has bottomed out in this area, one large slide, and it's a 2-mile ride to the bottom.
Get yourself into sick bay. I don't want any more of it.
Grey Lady Down this Wednesday night at 8 o'clock on ITV.
Meanwhile, we continue tonight after the news with WKRP in Cincinnati. Then at 11 o'clock, Mind Over Matter has a mind-bending subject.
Uri Geller claims he can bend metal by paranormal means. But does he? And if he does, how can we be sure?
Look, it's becoming plastic and there is no heat.
Try Bending Spoons in Mind Over Matter at 11 tonight on Southern.
Woolwich flexible term shares accelerate your money to our top interest rates. Save £500 or more for only 6 months and you're away with 0.25% above our normal share rate. Leave it in longer and the interest accelerates even more. Into the first year and it's taking off at 0.5% above. By the time you're into the third, it's accelerated to 1% above. And when you reach the fifth, it's flat out at 2% above our normal share rate. Commit your money to 5 years from the start and go straight in at the flat out rate. Or make the most of the flexibility and build up through the years. Ask for flexible term shares. Another good reason to say, we're with the Woolwich.
Standing in a bus queue,
Sitting in the traffic,
letting other people plan the way you go. It's time you broke away. Believe in freedom, believe in Honda. Going when you like, from door to door, your Honda bike and you. Believe in freedom, believe in Honda. Going where you like, your Honda bike and you.
Quick meals are only half as good without Yeoman Mash. Yeoman Mash makes a meal complete.
Sandra, I thought we were sticking together on this calorie-controlled diet lark.
We are, aren't we?
What's that, then?
Chicken soup.
But we agreed. I'm on lettuce, Janice is on cheese, Maureen's on yoghurt, and you're supposed to be on carrot juice.
I got fed up with it, didn't I?
We're all fed up with it, Sandra. I thought so. Chicken soup, 170 calories.
It's only 65 calories.
65 calories? Come off it, Sandra. Do we look stupid?
Heinz Slimway Soups. Treat slimmers like normal human beings.
Well, now, Janice, the cameras have stopped rolling. You can sit down and relax for a bit.
Janice, did you really think that tasted better?
Yes, I did actually.
Why? Why?
Well, the other one was a bit nothing. When I seen the adverts, I sort of thought, oh, you know.
Did you think they were fixed?
Yes, I did actually.
Really?
Yes, I think a lot of people do.
Well,
I mean, the thing is, with the children, sort of, my husband, just a moment, darling. He doesn't like margarine at all, but with the children.
Yes, I do like margarine.
I know you do.
Have you ever cheated and used?
I have, and he hasn't noticed.
Really? I must tell you. We've actually been cheating slightly because we're still shooting.
Oh, you're...
New Stalk SB. Now there's even more difference to taste.
I'm putting on the tip-top, pouring on the topping with a natural creamy taste.
Tip-top.
Germaline for cuts or grazes, spots or pimples, cracks or blisters. Germaline, the cut and graze ointment that treats more than cuts and grazes.
Rain and melted snow filter down through the glacial sands to form one of the world's purest mineral water springs. Here in these mountains, the French Alps. All we at Evian do is bottle it, so that you don't have to go to the Alps to drink it.
Traffic control cameras, anti-shoplifting cameras, cameras for opening automatic doors, all widely used, widely accepted. But what if these acceptable surveillance techniques are being abused? What if a local authority in a new town not far from Cambridge has the power to observe the activities of the whole community? What if everyone's TV set is a two-way device that enables that authority to watch and control the behavior of the community? What if we are actually watching you at this very moment?
Sin with Our Permission, tomorrow night at 9 o'clock on ITV.
You're watching Southern Television, and we now catch up with the latest world news from ITN.
Hijackers of the Turkish DC-9 are tricked, then overpowered. Polish students march in support of political prisoners. Northern Ireland Catholic politician says he's been hounded out of his home. But in Antrim, the athletics go on, and Steve Ovet's a winner. Good evening. The 4 Turkish gunmen who hijacked a plane to Bulgaria have been tricked and overpowered. Bulgarian security forces lured 2 of the gunmen off the plane, and then the passengers attacked the 2 others on board. The Turkish Airlines DC-9 was hijacked on a domestic flight yesterday and ordered to fly to Burgas in Bulgaria. The end came when the security forces convinced 2 of the gunmen to leave the plane to make a statement to journalists. When they climbed down, they were promptly arrested. They were immediately taken to be questioned in the terminal building and were found to belong to an extreme left-wing terrorist group. The plane had meanwhile taxied forward and then suddenly braked, throwing the 2 remaining gunmen off balance. While the troops moved in, the passengers took their chance and tackled them. One jumped off the plane to escape and was injured as he hit the tarmac. The other opened fire, but he missed the passengers, who then attacked him and beat him up. The pilot who led the passengers' revolt is now safely back in Turkey, together with all the others. Polish students have tonight been holding mass demonstrations in at least 7 cities to demand the release of what they call political prisoners. At the same time, 2 former government ministers who were under investigation for corruption have committed suicide. They were the former trade minister, Mr. Usewski, and the former building minister, Mr. Basis. After tonight's demonstrations, Poland's Council of Ministers warned of a serious deterioration in public order, including what it called isolated assaults on Russian soldiers in the country.
The demonstrators had planned to march right past the Communist Party headquarters, but they were warned that would be provocative and could lead to violence. So, after intense pressure, the demonstrators changed their route and set forth on what was the first protest march ever in Poland, and probably in the Eastern Bloc, for the release of political prisoners. There were almost as many spectators as there were marchers. And a little surprisingly, there were no police. Members of Solidarity seem to have taken over their role. This march is not an expression of sympathy for the views of the political prisoners. Instead, it's a show of support for their right to express those views, even though most of the marchers, and indeed most of the people of Poland, probably don't hold with them. Simply by gathering for the march in the first place, the students won immediate concessions. They were told the prisoners' case would be taken up at the next meeting of the Council of State, and that doctors would be sent to check the prisoners' health. So, as they gathered in Victory Square, it was indeed a victory for both students and government. The students saw it as a first step towards the prisoners' release. The government had managed to head off the violence many people had feared. Sam Hall, ITN, in Warsaw.
Black nationalist guerrillas have attacked a police station and railway lines outside Johannesburg and Durban as white South Africans prepared to celebrate the 20th anniversary of their independence. The African National Congress, which called on the majority black population to boycott the celebrations, have said they carried out the attacks. The Northern Ireland politician Mr. Paddy Devlin has been forced to leave his Belfast home. Mr. Devlin, a former member of the mainly Catholic Social Democratic and Labour Party, says he and his family have been hounded out of their home in the Republican Andersonstown by intimidation. He said, "We've gone through agony. We've had a constant stream of visits from thugs from the so-called Defence Committee and have been petrol-bombed and stoned. We could stay here no longer." Meanwhile, a 17-year-old has been charged with murdering a policeman who was shot and killed after the death of the first IRA hunger striker Bobby Sands. Sean Paul Grogan was remanded for a week, accused of shooting Constable Philip Ellis in the New Lodge area of Belfast nearly 3 weeks ago. And in County Londonderry, a member of the Ulster Defence Regiment was shot dead in an ambush at Galladuff, near the home of Francis Hughes, the second hunger striker to die. The UDR man was named as Private Thomas Ritchie, a 28-year-old bachelor from Macrofelt. Patsy O'Hara, the fourth hunger striker to die, was buried in Londonderry this afternoon. His funeral was attended by his brother Tony, who was allowed out of the Maze prison on parole. Both were members of the Irish National Liberation Army. Opposition parties in Spain have accused the government of concealing the true identity of the gunman in this weekend's bank siege in Barcelona, and they have demanded that the Prime Minister answer questions about it in Parliament tomorrow. The government are now saying that the siege was financed and planned by right-wing extremists using hired gunmen. But last night they denied that any right-wingers were involved. The number of gunmen has also dwindled. At first it was thought there were 24, then 11, and now the government puts the figure at 10, each paid £25,000 to do the job.
Everything is back to normal, said the government this morning, the radio and the papers, and a walk through the streets of Barcelona would appear to support that. The bank itself has become overnight the site of Barcelona, the pockmarks of the final gun battle testifying to the many lives that could have been lost. The release last night was dramatic and unexpected. As they spilled out of the bank, the hostages were ordered to run down a side street, crouching with their hands on their heads. The police were treating them as gunmen until they could prove otherwise. At this stage, all the gunmen were still in the bank. All but one were to surrender. That one was shot dead. But no hostage died, and in the bank today, several of them showed an enormous devotion to duty and actually turned up for work. In fact, it was as much a desire to say hello to colleagues as anything, and there were emotional reunions. But have things really returned to normal? There are increasing reports that members of the Civil Guard, the paramilitary National Guard of Spain, were the gunmen who took over the bank. The gunmen acted with military precision. They referred to the Civil Guard general who led the attempted coup 3 months ago as our general, and they refused to negotiate with the head of the Civil Guard because they said he would recognize them. And today, as always, the Civil Guard were enormously sensitive about being filmed, since now barely a week goes by without a report of an attack on the Civil Guard somewhere in the country.
The Saudi Arabian oil minister Sheikh Yamani might be prepared to raise his country's oil prices by $2 a barrel in return for price fees by the other OPEC countries. 3 oil ministers reported the compromise deal at the end of the first day of the OPEC conference in Geneva. The OPEC oil ministers have been mounting a campaign to make Sheikh Yamani raise his country's prices. The Saudis have been increasing production to cause a glut on the world market and force the other OPEC countries to freeze their prices. West Yorkshire's Chief Constable is giving his highest award to the 2 policemen who arrested the Yorkshire Ripper Peter Sutcliffe in January. Constable Rob Hydes and Sergeant Bob King will receive their commendations next month. Other members of the Ripper squad are also expected to receive awards. At the same time, the force has announced that its Deputy Chief Constable, Mr. Colin Sampson, will head an internal inquiry into the way the police investigation was handled. The veteran actor Jack Warner, known to millions as the television policeman Dixon of Dock Green, has died in hospital. He was 85. He was recovering from a stroke when he went back to hospital in West London with pneumonia 2 weeks ago. Mr. Warner was born Jack Waters in London East End, but changed his name to Warner because of the success of his 2 sisters, Elsie and Doris Waters. His career spanned variety, radio, and 80 films. But it was his portrayal of the typical British bobby, George Dixon, for the BBC, which he played for 21 years, that endeared him to millions.
Good evening, all.
Golf now, and Nick Faldo has won the Sun Alliance PGA Championship for the 2nd year running. He had a final round of 69 at Ganton in Yorkshire for a total of 274, 10 under par. That was 4 strokes better than Ken Brown and Neil Coles. But the leading trio who were playing together were all fined for slow play. £50 for Faldo and Coles and £100 for Brown, who was penalised yesterday too. Faldo said it was a real slap in the face and he was really upset about it. Athletics now, and Steve Ovett easily won the 1,500 metres at the United Kingdom Championships in Antrim in Northern Ireland. At the bell, Ovett was lying second. On the final bend, there was the now customary wave before that apparently effortless coast home. The time was more than 10 seconds off Ovett's best, but still a useful workout for his first real race of the season. The first-class cricket programme was almost totally washed out by the bad weather. The only play was in the Roses match at Old Trafford. There was less than an hour of that. Racing at Sandown and Fontwell Park were abandoned, and there'll be no racing at Sandown or Chepstow tomorrow. And finally, hundreds of people who have seen more than stars at night gathered in London today for the 2nd annual meeting of unidentified flying object researchers. They hope to persuade the British government to copy the French and Americans by opening up their files on sightings of flying saucers and similar objects.
Strange lights in space, as seen by the crew of Apollo 11. A mystery flying object photographed by the Brazilian Navy. Just 2 of the pictures that both confuse and encourage UFO enthusiasts throughout the world. But the several hundred people at this conference want to put UFO research on a proper scientific basis. They're all skeptics here, prepared to pore over the hundreds of money-making books on the subject, but with no time for what they call the lunatic fringe. They're anxious to lift the veil of secrecy over UFO sightings, although Britain's Ministry of Defence still refuses to cooperate. And sifting the evidence is made even more difficult when an Alabama policeman reports seeing this, and a Kentucky farmer says he took a pot shot at this. Perhaps after that, the beings from space decided we weren't worth getting to know. Martin Lewis, ITN, at the International UFO Congress.
And that's it from ITN tonight. We're back tomorrow, of course, with news at 1, news at 5:45, and news at 10. But now, from whichever planet you are watching us tonight, from all of us here, good night.
And now the weather forecast. The showers will die out from the west and most areas will have a dry night with clear periods. There will be sunny intervals tomorrow, but showers will develop during the morning, and after midday there will be some heavy showers about. Temperatures will fall overnight to 8 degrees centigrade and rise tomorrow to 14 degrees centigrade. Winds will be light to moderate southwest to west. And that's the weather forecast. Coming next tonight, we have WKRP, the liveliest radio station in Cincinnati. And at 11 o'clock, Uri Geller demonstrates his powers of mind over matter. And the powerful sound of Elkie Brooks is on Rockstage at 11:30.
When you fly British Airways 747 Club, there are one or two differences you just can't help noticing. Drinks, for instance, at no extra charge. And music. And films. A bigger seat with just 9 abreast, which in Super Club to the USA becomes a mere 6 abreast and converts into the widest airline seat in the world. More legroom too. Slipperettes, eye shades, and a choice of main courses. British Airways 747 Club and Super Club. You can't help noticing the difference.
In the world of nature, the bee is a familiar sight. Accumulating food for the winter during times of plenty is instinctive to the bee, and he works very hard to save sufficient for his needs. For people, saving is easier, especially with the Portman Building Society. We provide a secure home for your money, and your savings are readily available and growing all the time. Portman Building Society, naturally.
We don't brew bitter. We don't brew mild. We don't brew stout. We don't brew cider. At Carlsberg, we're not a jack of all trades. We just like to think we're the master of one. Carlsberg, probably the best lager in the world.
Just look at that. I wish I had a camera. Look at those colours. Telephoto lens would be handy. It would have to take pictures on a cold, dark summer's day, of course.
The new range of Kodak Extra cameras has everything you need to take good color pictures, all wrapped up in the steadying handle.
There's one for the album.
Don't lose your memories. Keep them in Kodak color with a Kodak Extra camera. Keep it with Kodak.
Boomtown, scrapyard.
Hello, Hudson.
It's Busby. Busby? My old friend.
Hudson, you old dog, you.
Yeah, what have you been up to?
Well, Busby, I've been meaning to come round to see you, but I've been tied up lately.
You rascal. Been chasing the milkman again?
Well,
And you know that cute little poodle up the road?
yeah.
He keeps asking about you.
No.
Oh, you really cut corners when you decorate a cake with Home Pride's new top and fill. No mixing, no messing. In chocolate, vanilla, coffee and lemon flavours. Enough to top and fill one of these sponges or lots of these. Lovely.
Home Pride's new top and fill. It's simply delicious.